All right, fam, let's do it again. Your boy Chadsky as we get rolling for another video. Okay, appreciate everybody and the warm welcome and feedback and all the good responses we've gotten about the channel, about all the videos. We've done some high-end videos and high-end, tier lists on armaments, tier lists on accessories. I've given you kind of the cav guides on what to do with your cavalry in the late game. And I've done all this stuff. The biggest feedback I get is early game stuff. The biggest feedback I get is new players needing to know, what do I do now? Where do I go? And if you go to my Discord, I'll have the description. The Discord will be in the description. You can easily go there, get good advice. We just launched the Discord last week. We got like 650 people, 700 people in the Discord, and you're going to get great advice. We have young players in there asking about different things. It's a very cool, positive, fun environment, and we're nerds there. We try to figure out how to be better in this game. We try to figure out how to do this game better, so I encourage you to join the Discord, and that's what this video is about today, just to make sure everybody understands, okay? We are talking about getting players out of KVK 1 and 2 and getting them into SOC and helping prepare them to do that, okay? So first and foremost, a couple of things. You want to invest in commanders that are going to transition into the late game. That's the first thing, okay? I'm going to help you young guys out and gals, all you girls and guys that are trying to figure it out for K1 and 2. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to help you, okay? And we're going to help you transcend into the late game and set yourself up, okay? First and foremost, you're not going to be a rally or garrison when you get to the SOC. It's too hard. There's too much stuff going on with gear and armaments. You got to tier this stuff up. You got to get the blueprints. The armaments the same way. You really got to work on these things to try to get them to a good level, and it's really, really difficult. Okay, so you're not going to be a rally or garrison. Let's focus field and how you can contribute in Season of Conquest in the end game of Rise of Kingdoms. In any kingdom that you're in, you can contribute. Okay, whether you're a whale, a high spender, a mid spender, a low spender, or free to play. Okay, you can start working on the things that we'll help you with right now. Okay, so there's three main commanders that you want to focus on in this. Okay, the first and foremost is going to be YSG. All right, YSG is a K1 commander that's still used in the end game today. He's used by everybody. Okay, you can still use him today in all different shapes and sizes and different formats. You can use them all over the place. Big damage here. This is the key right here. He does 50% more skill damage, okay? That's to him and whoever he's with, all right? So you'll see this guy, still to this day, people running 2 and 3 archer marches. You'll see YSG on the field. In artifact KVKs, you'll see YSG sitting behind CPO. You'll see YSG now with Ragnar. Okay, an artifact KVK means you can put an artifact on YSG and you can make him an infantry commander or a cav commander. Okay, so you'll see him with CPO and infantry, and then cavalry is super popular. You'll see him with Huo. Listen, 960 is the best kingdom in the game. 60 GT. These guys are amazing. Okay, they've been doing it for a long time. They are massive damage, full throttle in the field. Anybody that's facing a 60 GT field presence, you know what I'm talking about. And in artifact KVKs, they run this dude behind Huo. You'll see him everywhere. Okay, Will and those guys have figured that out to where we're just going to run max damage. And with Huo in the late game, he is wonderful. Okay, he does so much cool stuff, and he's going to blast that 2700 direct damage really quickly because you're going to bring this rage requirement down to 850, so it goes fast, and YSG is going to amplify all that stuff. So it is a big deal to have YSG as part of what they do, and it's a big deal to have YSG a part of what anybody does in the late game. You can use him all kinds of places. Canyon, you can use him for all kinds, and in the early game, he's one of the best commanders, if not the best commander. Okay, and you can even put him in a garrison. In K2, YSG Tommy is the best garrison. It's wild to say that, but it is. Okay, and people forget he is a garrison commander. Now he's more city garrison and watchtower stuff, but technically he is a garrison commander. So that's what's crazy about YSG. You'll never go wrong. You can get him in K1. The other reason why is because when you get into Season of Conquest, you get this museum thing here. It allows you to put these relics on old commanders like YSG and enhance them for late game. This does not work for K1 and 2. or K3. But once you get into SOC, you can use these relics and you add a little bit of tankiness for YSG, which is really good. And then look at that. You add another 12% skill damage, okay, on top of his 50%. He makes him so good, y'all. So YSG is a great investment. Go get him. He comes out so early in the game in K1. Try to get him expertise as quick as possible because you'll use him forever in this game, okay? And then from there, the second guy you're going to really go focus on is one guy that is just come kind of back to life with his museum relic. But this guy here, he's got one of the best debuffs in the game, I'll say. 3 nearby enemy troops take 30% more damage for 4 seconds. That's crazy good. Okay, and a murder ball, that's wild. He's got the instant proc factor. Of course, he does the shield that has a 1200 damage factor, which is great. But then here you go. Direct damage factor, 1700. That's his instant proc. That works really, really well with some dude named Luce. I'll explain later. And the healing reduction now, you got Shajar and you got these healing commanders coming out that he can really help there too. Okay, he's super fast. 30% march speed is the fastest troop type march speed of any commander in the game. It is so, he makes infantry go so fast. Okay, he's got all kinds of stuff. When you don't have a shield, you do more attack. When you do have a shield, you get 30% damage or 30% defense buff. So you got all kinds of things. The expertise just helps his active skill. Alex, get him, use him. You'll use him in the late game. Okay, let me help explain. Alex has got 2 relics on the museum, okay? And the 2 relics just make him even more tankier with 20% defense. And then the normal damage reduction of 6%. This is great because it helps against smite damage. So this just grows in value as more and more smite commanders come out in the game. So good for Alex there. Go get him. He's a K2 commander, and he is one of the best in the early game. And he's part of some of the best marches in the late game. And I'll kind of explain. The third commander you're going to go get is a gold key commander. It's really simple and easy. Okay, Mehmed. Mehmed is so versatile. You can use him for all different reasons and why would you use him? And I'll explain how that works. Okay, his AoE, even if it's not expertise, okay, here's his unexpertise active skill. 1150 damage to 5 targets. That's pretty good, especially K1 and 2. That's pretty good. You can run him 5-5-1-1 at K1 and 2, okay? And then you eventually get him expertise with the gold keys, but don't be afraid to put some gold heads into him sometimes to get him to certain thresholds. 5-5-1-1, go get him in K1 and K2, okay? He does 20% extra attack. Here's the amplifier. He does that skill damage bonus of 20%. That's great. This is a city hitting one that doesn't mean anything. And then this is a rally cap and a unit cap. You can get some extra unit cap with him. That's always really good, but he's so versatile. But here's what makes him really good. And people still use him in the late game. His museum buffs. He has 2 relics. His museum buffs. 30% health. And that's all troop health. So you can put him with Cav commanders, you can put him with infantry commanders, you can put him with archer commanders. He's going to make them much more tanky, and he's going to add to that 20% another 10% skill damage increase, okay? So he's an amplifier, he does some damage, and he helps you with some tankiness. So you can really use this guy in the end game. So those are the 3 commanders I always suggest to everybody. YSG early, K1, Alex K2, Mehmed early with gold keys, and just continue to work on those dudes because you'll use them in the late game, and it makes your transition into SOC that much better. See, I don't listen to people that say, hey, he's a gold key commander. Okay, so don't ever put gold heads into him because you'll eventually expertise him. Yeah, well, I'll eventually expertise him in 1.5 or 2 years. Okay, but if I want to be influential now in K1 and K2, I'll put some gold heads into him to get him 5-5-1-1 right now. Because I want to be a player right now. That's the misconception with this game sometimes. So many people tell you to save for SOC. Okay, so what are you going to do? Because here's what happens. And let me get on my soapbox for 2 seconds. Okay? Players who save and don't invest in anything in K1 and 2, they think that they're just going to show up in SOC and they can put all their gold heads into like high-end commanders in SOC Season of Conquest commanders. But if you don't learn how to fight, and if you don't learn how to play this game at a high level, okay, because you're just saving everything and collecting things in K1 and 2, then you're going to be a deadweight fighter in SOC. That's just how it is. The best fighters in SOC, they fight in K1 and K2. Okay, you're either a fighter or you're not. And if you're not, you're going to be a deadweight okay? And you're not going to do anybody any good. And any kingdom that you're in, you're just going to play this game to collect stuff, and that's fine. You can do that, but you're not going to be relevant fighting, okay? So I encourage people to go invest in YSG, invest in Alex, okay? Invest in Mehmed, K1 and 2, and go fight. Learn how to fight. Figure out what's right and what's wrong and what works and what doesn't work, okay? And then when you get to SOC, you just get better and better and better, but you already got the foundation of fighting and being in the fights and knowing how it works. So that is always my suggestion, okay? So let's go to our tier list, shall we? We'll do that. I'm gonna put these 3 dudes at the very top, okay? These are the 3 dudes you're gonna work on. All right, where's my guy? Mehmed, there he is. Okay, so once you've worked on these 3 guys, I'm gonna put Mehmed down here. But whichever way you're gonna set this up, whether you're gonna do infantry first or archers first. We'll say archers because YSG is probably the first one you'll expertise. Once you get into K3, KVK3, you start to be able to use Season of Conquest commanders. You can see them on the wheel. You can see them in the dailies. You can see them in all different ways. And what I mean by dailies, okay? We'll come back to game real quick. This is the best way that we didn't have. All of us who played 4 or 5 years ago and started, we didn't have this daily special offer. We did, but you couldn't choose your commanders, okay? Now you can choose anybody you want. So you can work just daily chess every day, okay? And it's $5. It's an easy investment. Best investment you'll make just for the sheer things that you get. You get AP, you get activity points here. You get 8 60-minute speed ups. You get 4 more 60-minute speed ups here. You get some resources. You get VIP tokens. You get smaller things here, but you're still getting stuff. And it's a $5 value that's just off the charts. And so when this is off the charts, the benefit to it is that you get to choose whatever commander you want. So when you open this up, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've gotten 10 before, 9, 8, 7 commander sculptures of the commander you want. So it makes it easier to go get a commander expertise, and you can start it in the early game. It's wild. And so you can't get SOC commanders here in the early game, but you can get YSG. Right when he comes out, you can get him in the dailies, okay? You can still get Alex, you can get all these different commanders, and it makes it that much easier to go get them, okay? So when you come over here to our tier list, these are the 3 you gotta work on, okay? YSG, and the reason why YSG is so important here is because he'll be used in the late game, and one of the very first marches you'll run that's just still really, really good to today is Seong-Gye YSG. Okay, Seong-Gye is one of the most powerful commanders in the game. He's a must bring to the field, and you can go get him expertise on the wheel, and you can put YSG with him, and you've already got a march that you can go use in just about any kingdom in Season of Conquest. Okay, so there's one march. The other one is putting Luce with Alex. This is one of the meta marches in the game. It's not just like, hey, this is Seong-Gye. Seong-Gye helps carry YSG, but YSG also amplifies Seong-Gye. These 2 are a match made in heaven. And this is still considered a meta march today. Okay, let me kind of help explain why. We talked about Alex, right? We talked about Alex's proc that he does. Okay, when Alex does this proc, okay, it's really, really good. Plus all the other things he does, okay? But when you go to Luce's got this funny thing with his expertise that's really interesting. He does an extra basic attack 25% of the time, and there's no cooldown on this. So that just creates more basic attacks that allow for Alex to fire off his proc. So they have great synergies together. They really do, okay? And so with that being said, it's one of the fastest marches. It's hard hitting. It does so many things. People love that march. And it's a march that I mean, God, until Wallace came out, I used it, and people still use it to today. And it's a meta march, all right? So you can literally 2 marches right off the bat when you get into SOC. You can literally go do damage with it and be effective in whatever kingdom you're fighting in. Doesn't matter, okay? I say go get Mehmed because there's a couple of things you can do with Mehmed, okay? If you say, okay, Cavalry, what do I do there, okay? Well, if you are a spender and you've got Mina, okay, Mina's really, really good. Let's go look at this, all right? Mina, let's see, that's my blacksmith. Go to my museum. Mina's got 2 relics from the museum once you get into SOC. That's 30% defense, 60% of stats. This is crazy. So Mina obviously starts to become more and more viable in the late game. You can just use him, okay? So for those of you spenders, you can easily use Mina, and you can go throw, if you're just getting into SOC and you don't have all the commanders, you can go throw Mehmed behind him and just go to work, you start doing damage. And you can start being viable in KVK3. You can be viable in KVK4 when you get into SOC. And so that's an easy way to do it. If you're not a spender and you didn't invest in Mina, there's a couple different ways you can go about this. I'm going to put these 3 commanders up here. Okay. Nevsky, Huo, and Joan. Okay. Whatever your preference is, I think that in the grand scheme of things, if I had to rank all 3 of these, I could only have one. If I could only take one, okay, I would probably take Joan. All right. And let me explain why. Joan does she's one of the highest damage output commanders in the game. Okay. And the reason why, she does a 3-target AoE for 2,000 damage factor. She's got a cool little damage bonus to it. She's got some rage that comes with it. But this is it right here. You can get Joan 5-5-1-5. You don't have to expertise her. You can get her 5-5-1-5, so it's pretty quick. I encourage you to eventually expertise her and get this thing squared away to get the all damage and get the normal damage bonus, okay? But her expertise isn't like game breaking, all right? It's okay, but it's just not game breaking, all right? So you want to get this to level 5, her 4th skill, because she does her probability to launch her active skill twice, gives you 100% probability. It's got a 10-second cooldown. So basically what this means, if you go back to your tier list and you ran her with, well, let's just say you ran her with Mehmed, she's going to fire off her active skill, then a second down, then the secondary, Mehmed fires off his, and then a second of downtime, and then she fires off again. Okay, and she does that every other active skill. So the overall damage she does is one of the best in the game. Okay, so I take her probably as the number 1 investment you go with in Cavalry, because she's going to be relevant for years, guys. They're not going to come out with enough Cavalry commanders to ever bench her over the next couple of years. So that's the first one I would do. Okay, from there you can look at Huo and Nevsky. I love Huo. Nevsky has been good for so long, it still is viable to today, and even in rallies. Okay, so that's what you've got. These are the 3 marches I would go with straight right off the bat. Okay, and the reason why you can more easily to this day, because it's a new change in the game, the reason why you can more easily run these marches, let me go to my system mail here. It should be in here. Let's see. We've got a situation going on with city skins. I think it's at the bottom here, but basically they're going to take away the debuffs of city skins. Okay, it's going to happen in game. All right. And so basically every city skin that gives you a buff, Archer 5% attack, okay? Siege unit, defense 5%. This is a legendary one, infantry health 15%. They're always going to come with debuffs, okay? Always, these red numbers, cavalry attack -5%, archer defense -5%. They're taking that away in the game. They're completely taking the debuffs away, okay? So it makes it to where if you're in the early game and you're picking up one of these things, you have 5% infantry defense, you don't have to worry about the calves. So all the city skins are going to do is just enhance whatever you're running. Now, if you're running multiple of one troop type, that's the city skin you want to go with, okay? But if you're just in the early game and you're getting into SOC and you're trying to get your marches squared away, you can do 3 different troop types and you're fine, okay? If you'd like to go to maybe 2 different troop types, or you want to just say, hey, I'm going to stick with some more archers, there's other ways to do that. But infantry and cavalry really give you a great situation to where you can run commanders much simpler. Mehmed's always good with cavalry because he doesn't have any march speed, and cavalry, you can put him behind just about anybody and be okay. Okay, so if you do have Mina and you want to go 2 calves, okay, you can easily run this and then go get Joan. And then after Joan, you go work on Huo. And then you run Huo Joan with Mina and Mehmed. Or you put Mina behind Huo and you run Joan Mehmed. However you want to do it. Just easy ways to do this. Like this thing right here, this commander, or I'm sorry, this commander, this commander, this commander, and this commander are all commanders you get early in the game. And if you ran these 4 marches in Season of Conquest, this is a little weak with Mina, okay? But if you ran these 4 marches in Season of Conquest, you'd be just fine. In a B seed, an A seed, a high A seed, or an Imperium, you'd be fine if you just go fight with that, okay? And work on your gear and equipment with that. As you get more and more into SOC, okay, you've eventually got to bring this guy into play with Nevsky, okay? And then you run a Huo Nevsky. If you have Mina, you can just run this for now and not worry about it. But if you don't have Mina, you can eventually run a Huo Nevsky. And then from there, you got to bring this guy to the table, okay? So you can go either way here. You can go ahead and bring CPO into the mix. It used to be Guan CPO, but you can bring Ragnar, because Ragnar is literally turning into one of the most powerful commanders in the game. Like, we haven't even gotten him yet, but we just got a taste of him. And so the reason why Ragnar is so good and so powerful, he would be like, outside of Luce, he'd be probably my next investment, because I'm more of an infantry guy anyways with Cavs. But Luce, we all know how good he is, okay? But this Ragnar dude is gonna do more damage than anybody in the game. This setup right here, with his expertise, this is the most damage of anybody in the game, okay? He's really good. He's really tanky. He does a lot of drain. He does a strain effect, does a lot of cool stuff. So he is going to be such a busted good commander. Everybody's going to realize the value of this dude once he comes out in the game, after we've now done the trial with him, okay? So that's when you get into 4 marches. You could go either or. You could go Cavs, or you could go Ragnar CPO, okay? Or, from that standpoint, you could use William Wallace, put him with Luce, and then move Alex down to run with Ragnar. Okay, there's all kinds of things you can do there. But that's kind of your 5-march setup, how I would do it. All right, probably do it this way. Now, I'd probably keep Ragnar and CPO as my 4th most important, then 5th, and then you get into 6. You can start introducing other things like Herman into the mix, and when you introduce Herman into the mix, you want to run him with Zuge, and then you pull YSG down. Well, you can't run YSG primary, so you need to go grab another one for him, okay? And so there's all kinds of different ways to do that. Like Shazar is one of them. You can put Shazar with YSG. A lot of people are using Ash with YSG. But you can use Shazar with YSG, and so that's another infant or archer one you can use. So that's 2 archers, 2 infantry, 2 cavalry for 6 marches. Okay, however you want to do that. Now again, these aren't tier lists of what's the best. This is just, again, reminding everybody, coming into SOC, here's what you're working towards. Okay, this isn't a tier list of what's the best, but this is just what you're working towards. Okay, and then from there you can do whatever you want. All right, if you want to go to a 3rd infantry, you can bring William Wallace into the game. If you do that, you can bring Luce down here behind William Wallace. You can go put CPO with Alex, and then you can bring Guan if you want to. I don't suggest investing in Guan, but that's how you can do it. Or you can pull this down, and then you can bring Mehmed behind him, and then you can bring William into the game behind Joan William. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, okay? But let's go back to the original setup I encourage everybody to use. When you're getting into SOC, there's your first 3 marches. However you want to do them, however you want to line them up, you can do it however you want. But when you first get into SOC, get 3 marches, get them on the field, get them working, and then you start working on your 4th. And you can do your 4th however you want, okay? Whatever order you want, all right? And so, let's take Shazar, let's see. Where's my guy here? Where's Herman? Don't see him. Where is my Herman? Oh, he's up here. Okay. That's what you're going to use, those 3 marches. And then from there, you can start working on your 4th march, however you want to set these up, your 5th march, however you want to set these up, and then your 6th march. That's kind of what your path is. And once you start playing this game for 1.5 years, 2 years, then you can really get dialed in on new commanders and doing different things and kind of fitting out exactly how you want to do it. But these are the first 3 marches you want to get, okay, no matter what. All right. With that being said, I appreciate everybody, and don't forget, like, if you like the video, like it, subscribe to the video, to the videos and to my channel. The memberships are available. Also encourage you to just join my Discord. And don't forget, this is a video. Again, let me just end it with this. This is for young players. We want to help young players. We want to help bring them along. Okay. We want to help them in their journey to get to Season of Conquest and become relevant players. And that's what this is all for. We're here to have a good time. It's a game. It's a mobile game. What I say is not biblical. It's not all or nothing. If you debate it or disagree with it, that's completely okay. I try to get to all the comments, so just let me know. And with that being said, we'll see you later, broskies.